boy, it's time now for another exciting episode of Mr. Nailsin's Wednesday Comics. And only got 3 titles. I have a huge stack of comics, but oh my goodness, all the stuff going on. I just didn't have time to delve in any of them any further. But I did get the next Absolute Batman, so we'll be able to go over that one. And then Justice League and World's Finest. Won't that be nice? I think so. And I mean, I hope so, because it's all I got, you know. There we go. I pinned my little super tip thing for the YouTubes. And then I'm going to do that over on, the Rumble, because I just feel like that's appropriate. I do. Oops. Yeah. Okay, there you go. It says it's pinned. All right, everything should be lovely and wonderful, and everyone's happy and all that stuff. So I guess I'll get right to it. Here we go. We will begin with Absolute Batman. Now, lately, and primarily because of this title here, DC is, for the first time in a long time, they would have waves here and there and a few runs that would beat Marvel, but Marvel was always overall dominant for decades. Well, that's changed. Not the least of which is Marvel is just determined to burn itself to the ground. So, for a while there, DC was thinking, "Oh, we got to do what they're doing," and they strayed a bit and have done some damage to their brand, but not as much. And they've always had more quality in their stories of late than Marvel did. Marvel brought back their Ultimate line, and it was popular because it had nothing to do with the crap they've done to their main line. So DC did the same thing with the Absolute line, but it looks like Absolute is now going to beat that out as well. I mean, really, the Ultimate line, all they got is Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah. Here, all the titles seem to be doing well. In the dilapidated market that it's done to it, so, which is unfortunate, but hope springs eternal. So anyway, when we last saw our Absolute Batman, he met Bane, and of course the over-the-top craziness of Absolute Batman is its main selling feature here. And so this version of Batman is just beyond absurd. I mean, look at his head on that monstrosity. He's literally a monster, and he's been brought in to deal with this Batman, who is pretty monstrous himself. He's a giant. People can get that tall, but what are the odds that he would? I mean, even in this drawing, his head looks like a little boy's head on this monstrous body, but compared to Bane, he's nothing. So it looked pretty bad for Batman. So how's it going to turn out? Well, he's naked. So here we go. It says it's June. Well, it's not. It's late July, but we'll go with it. It's only been a few days, maybe. He's my son, Jim. I know him. And something's wrong. I can feel it. More to the thing that, Martha and Jim Gordon are, bumping uglies because, well, there's no one else. And, there was always this story that Jim Gordon was basically the same age as Bruce Wayne's father. So I'm assuming that applies to this, but boy, how young is his mother? Look at her, I mean, you can see the age on Jim Gordon, but what's going on here? But that's comic books for you. Anyway, begin doctor's log reporting on test subject 27. Boy, I bet 27 is a nod to Detective Comics 27. Batman's first appearance. See? Stupid nerds like me waste my time on information like that. Sedated male presented at 6'9", 421 pounds. All muscle. 6 staff were required to carry him in. 1 back injury incurred. Removal of his costume triggered a series of homemade booby traps. Numerous injuries incurred. So all this stuff they had to dig out, and it's really grisly. Once fully stripped, scans showed further contraband hidden throughout his body. So they had he had these subcutaneous, more booby traps, I guess, in under his skin. But, he's like, in case I'm ever stripped naked, I'll still have some weaponry hidden in my skin. After multiple surgeries, staff is now confident all objects have been extracted. Now, that's what was under the skin here, and his back, his shoulder, and then on his arm there, but near his wrist. But probably up his butt, too, Who knows what they pulled out of there? Some batarangs or whatever. Items confiscated include tear gas pellets, acid pellets. Geez Louise. Hopefully that wasn't up his ass. Explosive pellets. Oh, my God. Maybe I don't. Hopefully that wasn't there either. Sedative pellets. Hallucinogenic pellets. Maybe that's all this is. He's not really here. A full lockpick kit. Blow darts. Finger blades. Knuckle blades. Toe blades. Push daggers. Trench daggers. Various throwing shuriken. And 1 large spiked war club. Collapsible. Guessing that's like his bat symbol thing that becomes a battle axe, Well, he's got a toilet, so that's nice. Anyway, subject remains under heavy sedation. All data suggests he'll remain incapacitated for at least 48 hours. You'd like to think that, wouldn't you? In doctor's log. So when she's done talking about him, I guess she leaves or whatever. And then, you thought I was sedated, but I've practiced years to develop an immunity to sedation. Something like that, probably. Anyway, today's title is Abomination. Oh my God, is what's in his guts? Oh no, it's a giant dragon. Well, this will become significant later. Yeah. Well, anyway, he's trapped in Arc M, and there's all kind of experiments going on, probably by the same people who created the likes of Bane. Yeah. So as we go, I'm sure we'll run into we already have Mr. Freeze and the like. There'll be some others within this facility that have been transformed into monsters for nefarious means. So again, yes, he's naked, and he's like, damn, all my stuff, my butthole's empty, so there's nothing in there. What am I gonna do? Hey, look, there's a drain. That might come in handy. So they forgot to check his teeth or gums or whatever, so he's able to pull. Oh, it's the drain. It's the I thought I was looking at that, but no, it's the lock on the door. So he's got a needle or something jammed in his gums, so he pulls that out, and look, it's Batman's ass. And he gets the door open, see? Yeah, they think they know better. Well, they're going to learn. So, I mean, they know he's Bruce Wayne. Now, Bruce Wayne's not famous or a billionaire in this universe, so he's just some guy who, he's in the air. He's got an engineering degree, and he works on these construction projects and whatnot. And he's made use of his access to a lot of those projects and buildings. So that's the secret to his gadgetry and success in that bid. He really needs the money. Yeah. But hey, you go with it because it's just so nuts. So anyway, here he goes. The door slams shut and it gives him a draft and he's cold. So he's walking along. Doop, because, he's like, damn it, I wish I could find something to put on. I don't want anyone to see me naked. I got bad news for you, Bruce. Everyone's seen you naked. As he's passing by, there's something here. The space jockey from Alien? I don't know, but probably should just tiptoe away, So it says level 246 Heifer experiment, maybe? Yeah. Oh, Helferin experiment. So he's giving a peek here. Begin doctor's log. Subject has escaped his environment and is currently at large. Initial visuals placed him in the Southwest complex. Level 246 Helferin. So, oh no, here's another monstrosity. What could it be? Hey, it looks like a giant egg, but again, he's butt naked, so he's not going to stick around to find out. So, current sweeps have him somewhere in transmutation and plasticity. So, they're experimenting on transmutation and plasticity, which makes sense when you want to change something into something else. It's going to have to be plastic in nature, not actual plastics, malleable, that kind of thing. Anyway, possibly en route to the clay biome. So we're getting close to what this universe's absolute clay face will probably be. So it's probably some poor bastard. One of them, I don't know if it's Basil or Matt Hagen or both, whatever, is going to be experimented on in this place. And then he'll get his shape-shifting powers. Oh, good Lord, look at that. That's it. That's all the review they have. Does he escape? What do you think? But there you go. You thought you searched everywhere. But they didn't search under his front teeth. So, but I guess that's the only weapon he had. But my God, he went through all this trouble in case I'm ever stripped naked. So he anticipated this. As soon as he gets captured, they're going to strip him down because, well, that's what criminals are. Not only are they a cowardly, superstitious lot, they're also perverted. So he had to make sure he had all these weapons subcutaneously sewn into his skin. And, of course, who knows what he shoved up his ass. Yeah, that's usually how that goes. Boy, it's rather disturbing, but that's the nature of absolute Batman. It's absolutely nuts. Toxic JPEG says, Dub. Toxic JPEG, why does Bruce look like a twink? Yeah, I don't know. He's younger than in other iterations of him, and he's on his little head on this giant body. Not as extremes as Bane in the cover, but I don't know. But it's an exaggerated art style, which, it fits because it's an exaggerated version of Batman. It's just the whole series is really bizarre. I don't know how long that keeps the interest going, but so far it's working for it. The sales are pretty good on it. Toxic JPEG again, babyface killer. Well, I guess, but oh no, he did kill some people. Yeah, I think he did. Oh well, he's a little rougher than the typical Batman, but it's a nastier universe. I mean, even the absolute Superman is well, he's not the nice guy he was in the universe proper. Oh no, he isn't. So what are you gonna do? I don't know, but we'll see how this goes. But I gotta hand it is interesting, and so it continues to be so. The most interesting of the three main types, I've said this ad nauseum, but I'll say it again, is the absolute Wonder Woman story. It's the more interesting of the three. Superman it's pretty boring here and there. It did have a cool Brainiac issue, so that was interesting. But it's just, capitalism bad, communism good, blah, 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 and all that kind of crap. But, we'll see how it goes. It does have the best art on it of the three. It does have that, but that's about it. But Batman's Batman, and it's really wild and bizarre. If someone could have figured out how to do a wild, crazy Superman without, you know, being overly stupid, maybe that would have worked. But I don't know. It didn't work out that way. They just didn't do it, and they go back to farm and decide, hey, I know, I'll preach. That always works. Well, sure. All right. So up next is Justice League Unlimited. More league than you can stand. Not to be confused with the popular cartoon of the 90s. Same title, but it's and the same idea. Just about everybody, every character on the DC Earth or whatever, is a member of the league now. Yeah, so which pretty much opens it up. They rule the world at that point, but they just don't think of it that way. So they've had this crossover thing with World's Finest. So elements that happened in the past led to this, and it all comes down to Gorilla Grodd's plot to seize ultimate power. As a result of absolute power, the one event after another, it's hard to keep up. He got the mind reading power and control. He already had some mind control powers, but he had John Jones, the Martian Manhunter's powers, his mental powers. So he's utilized that to manipulate airwave and all of. He set up this whole thing, and he went and snatched members of the Legion of Doom from the past. So to help him take over the world and all this stuff. And damn near it almost worked. An airwave found out too late that he was a stupid idiot being used by this talking gorilla. And he seemingly was killed, but he's airwave, so he's, an airwave. So his airwave ghost, I guess, is still around. And he's able to cobble together versions of the Justice League, but from different eras. And so here you see on the cover, you've got this version of Batman, which is a story I didn't bother to read, but it was one of Scott Snyder's stories. Wonder Woman from an earlier era, looks like kind of akin to the John Byrne era, where she just had the star here and the star there on her panties. Aquaman back when he didn't have his hand and had a hook instead. Abin Sur, I don't know if anyone's going to tell him that he's dead. But anyway, and Electro Superman. These are mostly 90s iterations, except for Batman. Robin back in his little shorts. Jonah Hex, of course, is from the Old West. I guess Barry Allen Flash from whenever. And this other version of him, I'm not familiar with him. No, Batman Beyond Batman from the future. Yeah, him. Boy, Thunder Boy or whatever from the World's Finest Stories, who goes on to become Agong. Yeah, he shows up. Shh, don't tell him. And then, I don't know, I guess Tim Drake before he magically turned gay. So he's in there. Or it might be the other version of Dick Grayson. I don't know. This maybe is Dick Grayson or Jason Todd. I don't know. And then, still a shitty version of Harley Quinn. They think you can just take a psychotic murderess who was obsessed with the psychotic murderer and suddenly make her one of the good guys. It's stupid, but they think it serves feminism or something. And Teenage Wonder Girl, she's there. Oh, look, it's Metamorpho. So anyway, there you get the idea. So here's the Legion of Doom. They feel they've won. They defeated the Justice League and scattered them into the past. But now these other versions showed up because they don't understand that Airwave's still alive. Because again, he's an airwave. Once I believed the earth was blighted with the Homo sapiens species, that my kind, the troglodytes gorilla, were the planet's rightful inheritors. I was a fool. Now I see them both through the late Darkseid's eyes, as the inept, fragile beings they are. Yeah, he's got Darkseid power. Say, he managed to siphon some of that. Yeah. For I am no longer Gorilla Grodd. I am the Gorilla God. But that makes it sound like you're the god of gorillas. You know? But you want to be god of everything. You know? Anywho, there he goes. He's got the Omega beams that Darkseid has. Shooting Robin, who's like, what are you going to do now? I guess he just gets out of the way. Yeah. So anyway, you got all these other superheroes from different eras to come do the battle. So there's Batman. He zeroes in on Joker. Electro Superman beats up Bizarro, so on and so forth. And there you go. And Black Manta said, hey, what happened to your hand? Did I do it? No. So, you know. Anyway, God continues. And once I and my followers, the Legion of Doom, dispense with the heroes flailing all around us like stringless meat puppets, I will assume the throne of he who rules all. If you say so. Meanwhile, Airwave is, please, I'm really sorry, I fucked up. Tornado, I need help. Time exploded. I'm not strong enough to. Oh no. Wave. You betrayed us. I was tricked. You have to believe me. Grodd's torn into the Omega energy, that rift that opened when Darkseid blew up. In the DC All-In Special. It's messing up everything. Everything up. Yeah, I'm dyslexic. I'm trying to bring the League back. I grabbed anybody I could, but the Leaguers Grodd deliberately scattered or more, I don't know, anchored, and I'm out of power. Then siphon what power you can from me. All Watchtower systems have been corrupted. Okay. I'll take that risk. So there you go. He's just all airwave energy now. But, and, well, there's Robin in his shorty shorts and knee pads. Remember what that airwave kid told us? He's kicking Joker. Batman, oh, well, thanks. And the crowbar. Yeah. Anyway. He said these creatures are monsters hell-bent on destruction. And this critter kicks Sinestro's ass. An understatement. Black Manta gets his kicks murdering children. Anything to hurt you, Curry, no matter what period of time you come from. Gonna kick your shell, turtle, man. Where am I? Yeah, I don't know this version of the Flash. He looks stupid. He's not the absolute Flash, is he? I don't think so. Anyway, that's it. That's it for Justice League Limited. No, this is the proper title, yeah. It's all right. It's just a basic adventure story and that sort of thing. Your kids could, read it if you want. There's nothing, nasty or whatever. And it's kind of very similar in the themes and presentation of World's Finest. So it's just, superheroes doing what superheroes do. Fight supervillains. Dr. JPEG. Oh, really? Absolute Wonder Woman? That's cool. What would you recommend for someone who hasn't read any comics since the early 2000s? Well, despite these being better than they've been in a while, they're really not good enough. The independent titles tend to be better. And right now, that consists of anything Mark Miller is doing, Was he just wrapped up the Magic Order, so I got to catch up on that. He's got Nemesis going on. He did the whole crossover where the characters from Kick-Ass came into that and all that sort of stuff. That was cool. And he's just constantly churning stuff out that's really good. So the Miller World, Millerverse, whatever you want to call it, his titles are always good. The other one that's pretty good is an imprint called Ghost Machine. It's published through Image Comics, and that's Jeff Johns' work. And all of those are good. He's got a series called Geiger. It's probably the best. There's another one called Redcoat about this guy who was a redcoat in the Revolutionary War, but through magic, he's immortal now. So you follow him through all of American history, slowly but surely, and all kind of mysteries abound. But he lives in the same universe as the Geiger guy, who's a survivor. The unknown war, and nobody knows why it happened, but there's a nuclear wasteland on the earth, and this guy has radioactive powers and all that kind of stuff. But he's got a bunch of other titles. This is a strange series called Hyde Street, which is akin to EC Comics and Tales from the Crypt, except that it's an ongoing narrative with characters who normally would have been like host characters to those anthologies. But it's not really an anthology. Kind of, sort of is. So it's interesting. There's a couple other titles. They're all right. I wasn't all that taken with them as some of these others. The science fiction story called Rook, which I don't think is connected to the rest of them. I think it's a standalone, but it's a distant future thing. And these guys who were helping populate a new colonized planet, but it all went to hell, trying to survive on it. But they had these helmets that allows them to telepathically link to animals. And the main character, he's linked to this flock of crows and that sort of thing. So it's bizarre, but it's pretty damn good. All of the art, and these guys, because they appear to be able to afford to pay the best, is second to none. It's all very gorgeous artwork in all of these titles. And so that's pretty good. Beyond those two, you could check out Titan Comics publishing Conan the Barbarian. Those comics are really good. They pretty much captured the Conan aesthetic and story narratives. So those are pretty good for what's available now. What's new? The rest, there's tons of stuff, collections and whatnot you can check out. Old stuff is better. Really, going forward, some of these, like the main two, Marvel and DC, should probably up republishing or reprinting old stuff, because it just does better, because it is better, because their talent pool has just been devastated, really. They do these facsimiles of old comics, so they're put together exactly as they appeared from whatever era they take from. Those are always fun. They cost more than they did originally, but nevertheless, it just goes to show that the sales on those outpace a lot of their current titles. So that tells you a lot. Mark Miller and Jeff Johns saved. Thank you. What about some of these older movies that Pat has you watching? Any recommendations? Yeah, I'm doing reviews of those. I just taped them earlier tonight, or last night rather. And those will be coming out shortly. But the three I just got through watching, not just through, over the couple of weeks, is the original The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, with Walter Matthau and Robert Shaw in that. It's good. I've never seen the remake, but this one is pretty good. I do recommend that. It's a heist movie. It's pretty clever and stuff like that. The next one was the Friends of Eddie Coyle, and that's a Robert Mitchum film where he's this aging criminal trying to get out of sentencing he's got to do and all that. And the title is significant in its irony. I'll leave it at that. And it's pretty good. And then the latest one is a film called The Outfit, starring Robert Duvall, and it's excellent. It's pretty good, and I can see how that one was, I believe, one of the influential films on the likes of Tarantino and stuff. So it's all about criminals and stuff like that, but it's good. Uh, Pretty good, and especially The Outfit. It's kind of a win-win. It's one of those where it's criminal versus criminal. So hey, let them duke it out, you know. Oh yeah, and Mark Miller is spelled the Mark part's right, but the Miller, the E in Miller, replace that with an A. That's how he spells it. Jeff Johns is spelled with the Jeff part is G, Geoff. And Ghost Machine is his imprint, and you'll want to check that. He writes most of them, but there's other people come on board, and it's good. It's just the problem for Image Comics is with the Diamond Distributor Company going bankrupt, and it's all collapsing. Hopefully Image Comics, Diamond owes them $3 million, and they're probably not going to get it. It's really bad, but hopefully there's a distribution, because Ghost Machine is really good. Mark Millar is through Dark Horse Comics. I think they've set up a deal with other distribution, so they should be okay. And of course, Mark Millar is one of the top talents out there. And of course, he inked his deal with Netflix to produce. They own a lot of his properties and whatnot as far as television and movies and that kind of thing. But his comics are, I've never been disappointed in them. So he's just that good. Toxic Dick again. Oh, heck yes. We'll check Titan Comics Conan the Barbarian. Yeah, it's good. Off topic, just clicked at 21 minutes as I hear Batman's ass. Yes, he was butt naked. He's been captured by perverts who stripped him. Oh no, how will Batman get his drawers back? Find out. Same bat time, same bat channel. Off topic show. Hope everyone's doing well and staying highly positive. Well, trying to be positive about the comic book industry. It's not always easy to do, but there are some positives here. These aren't bad titles. So there you go. That's some positivity. Toxic JPEG. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Well, you're welcome. Toxic JPEG says, hey, Matt. Yes, hey, Matt. Indeed. Thanks. Dub Jeff. Yes, that's right. That's how it's spelled. That's how he just had to be the one, you know. Well, I'm sure his parents had something to do with that. So, all righty. Let me see for our last title. We'll move on to, I don't have it up yet. Let me see. There it is. Okay. And we'll see this one. It's World's Finest. And despite being written by Mark Waid, who is utterly insane, probably will never recover from his Trump derangement syndrome and the like. But when he just shuts up about that, he does actually have writing skill. And so these basic little superhero adventures, he can do it. And for the most part, that's what he's done. He also wrote the Justice League Unlimited series. So World's Finest. And this is the one that kind of showed signs that perhaps DC was actually going to try, and just basic, nothing, no masterpiece or anything like that, but just basic superhero adventure type things. And no preaching of any sort, which really has got to grind Mark's gears, you know. But nevertheless, he was always a comic book nerd. If he just leans into that, he can actually produce something. Unlike most of the woke era writers and artists, he actually has skill. A lot of them just don't. They got by on whining about their skin and genitals and the like. But so far, World's Finest, there's ebbs and flows, but it's a pretty solid title. And again, something, if kids still read comic books, this would be a title you could be fine to have your kid read. So it's a Bizarro story. So there we go. We got Bizarro Superman and Bizarro Batman, Bizarro Lois, Bizarro Jimmy, Bizarro Robin, Bizarro Catwoman. And at first I thought, hey, is this supposed to be Bizarro Metamorpho? What's the point? But it's Bizarro Luther. So the thing of it is, they've done this where he's combining the Silver Age weird and goofiness elements of DC Comics on the templates of the latter day iterations that were a bit darker and more serious. So it's working so far, and for a while there, I thought they were just going to say that this is out of continuity, but it's not. They did a, time traveling crossover with Justice League and all that. So they're claiming this is, their overall continuity for DC as of now. Still, World's Finest takes place in the past when everything made sense. Dick Grayson's Robin, Batman, has his bat symbol on. Superman looks like so on and so forth. Well, this one is Bizarro, but here they're taking a horror type approach to it. So here's Robin running through this mysterious fortress. Oh my God, there's glowing eyes chasing him. And he comes to this house. So maybe I can hide in there. Batman, where are you? Superman, can you hear me? Where are you? Where am I? Hide. What the hell? So he's in the house. It's dark. He doesn't know where he is. I know. I'll get my cigarette lighter out and light it. I guess it's a flashlight. So he does that, or a little torch, maybe, whatever. And oh no, he's in a house full of Bizarros. And of course, Bizarros talk backwards, so he says goodbye, but he's really saying hello. Yeah. So there's Bizarro vomiting snot, and Bizarro Luther and Bizarro Lois. Yeah. So, oh boy, isn't he sorry he turned the lights on, but he needed to see what was there. So that's all the preview images I have of it. What's going to happen? Well, he's stuck on Bizarro World, and they got to figure out, oh no, what do you do? Well, that's a good question. Well, there's a lot of Bizarros that they got stuck there, and Batman and Robin are there, but they got separate. I mean, Batman and Superman are also there. They do rescue Robin, and then they got to figure out what to do with the Bizarros. And of course, everything is backwards and all messed up. And so ultimately they understand that they've got to get kryptonite to fight the Bizarros. Problem is, because he's all messed up and backwards, except most of his powers are the same as Superman. But in here, I don't know that this was ever established before, but he says, hey, he's got X-ray vision too. Can't he see? Yeah, but he can only see through lead, whereas Superman can't see through lead, but everything else he can. I'm not sure. X-rays can't penetrate lead, so I don't know what kind of vision Bizarro. I guess it's Bizarro vision. Anyway, what else does he do? He can breathe fire now. He doesn't have heat vision. He has cold vision, stuff like that. But he still flies and is super strong. They couldn't figure out what to do with that to make it backwards. Otherwise, he'd be super weak and too heavy to fly, I guess. I don't know. So they just, well, we'll leave that intact. But his language, because he's just kind of stupid in the head, and all of that, it seems like that would explain it, and leave it at that. But whatever. Again, keeping a lot of the elements and the goofiness of Silver Age stuff and putting it back in for a while, especially post-crisis and all that. They would, they just eliminated all of it. That stuff never happened, you know, and but they really couldn't come up with anything else. So the way to weave it back in slowly but surely has happened over the years, and such is the same here. And that's what they've done. And going back to it, what do? Well, you got to take green kryptonite and zap it with the Bizarro ray that creates Bizarro, and then you get blue kryptonite, which is harmless to Superman, but deadly to Bizarros. So it all ends, and they get that, and they think, we've rounded the Bizarros, but something's wrong with them, meaning something's going right with them, because backwards and all that, and they don't know what it is, and ultimately, it ends on a cliffhanger. What could it be? Well, you'll have to pick up your copy, or World's Finest 41, to find out. Won't that be nice? Well, it's up to you. But anyway, there you go. Those are the titles I read. I did catch up. Well, I haven't caught up, but I bought copies of Absolute Wonder Woman. I'll catch up on that. Let you know what I think of that. The latest Green Lantern. Got that in there. And there's a couple of others, and why am I forgetting? That's embarrassing. But quite a few. Did take a look, just really scanned over the history of DC that, again, Mark Waid did. They've done these things a couple of times over the years, and now that they've done more retcons and whatnot, so now you got to have this one to explain everything. It's one of those where they put it back to where Superman's not the first superhero anymore. I've never been a fan of that, but it is what it is. If they want to keep this going where they're all in the same world with Justice Society and Justice League, the original setup was better. It's just they're in another Earth and you leave it at that. I just don't know what. And then you have the original Superman over there and stuff like that. And they only crossed over once in a while. I didn't see why it was such a big deal, but whatever. They just are determined to never go back to that. Even though they keep multiverse stuff and all that, and it's still just as confusing for anybody who's, not all familiar with it. But most of the time, it's just one or two titles. Anyone might pick that, and the rest of it, primarily people are interested in Batman, and that's it. If that's all you're interested, you don't really need all this other stuff, and it really doesn't matter. The Elseworlds Batman stories, which is essentially what Absolute Batman is, it's just ongoing, tend to be a lot better now because it's just, I guess because the shackles are off and they're not weighed down, but they come up with interesting creative ways of doing it. But, it's the same character. It's just, it's Batman in the cowboy days. Oh, it's Batman in the 1920s or whatever. Stuff like that. But I don't know. Tends to work. It's fun here and there. So for the most part, as far as continuity, maybe they should just give it up. It doesn't matter. And each title should have its own continuity. And, even like a Justice League title is just, those guys are on the team. But the individual titles, they're all in their own little world and never the twain shall meet or whatever. And, it wouldn't complicate it so much. But that's what they want to keep doing, I suppose. Just don't know. So there you go with all things, DC Comics and whatnot. I have a super tip, so we're going to need to do that. So I'll have to, let me go ahead and take this out. Remove. Thank you. Put you there. Thank you. And we head over to here. And hopefully the audio's still working. Jeez. It better be. And we'll play from Toxic JPEG. $20. Wow. Thanks, Toxic JPEG.
In Gotham's grime, where villains prance, twink Batman flexes a beefy stance. pinhead noggin, a pea on a jacked up bod, huge ass frame, cape slaps like a smug little god. Love your work, Doug.
Well, again, thank you very much. Yeah, what a way to start the morning off with naked ass Batman, who keeps all manner of weapons subcutaneously under his and everything. And of course, they don't mention it in the title, but you know he had stuff up his ass. I mean, the doctor's log indicated that they did a thorough search. So they pried that open and took a look. Said, "Oh, look at this, gas pellets." And so, such is the way absolute Batman does. When he goes naked, it's absolute. Yeah, naked ass Batman. Yes, this one. Maybe I should change the title to this broadcast to Naked Ass Batman and Other Tales. And of course, they'll probably do it again. Oh, a phone call. Sorry about that. Hang on. Sorry about that, but things do occur. All right. Well, I guess that'll do for oh wait. Let me see. There was some items that yeah, I guess I could do this one. It's not comic books, but it is superheroes. That's something, ain't it? And then where's the other one? What was it? Oh, that's it. Well, I thought I had some. Oh, yeah. We'll see what this is. There was all these reviews coming out for Fantastic Four, and they were just glowing and so great and everything. Well, things do occur. They do, don't they? They have a nasty habit of doing it, even when you really just don't care to have that happen. When you're in the middle of broadcasting your live stream, yeah, but it did it anyway. Well, yeah, it's what it did. Okay. Yeah, this one I'll go ahead and do that. And well, I guess I got to go back to the other one. There's some kind of trick here. I'm worried about tripping it to where I can't be heard anymore. But I don't think so. I think this will work. So, there we go. All right. Well, where is it? There it is. Avengers Doomsday will reportedly take place on 3 different Earths. Well, imagine that. So a new report claimed Avengers Doomsday will unfold across at least 3 universes, some of which fans may recognize. Oh, boy. So, see, there's Robert Downey Jr., but they put him in green armor now because, Dr. Doom and all that. Marvel Studios' Avengers Doomsday is reportedly set to spotlight 3 different from the Marvel multiverse. According to a new report, Avengers 5 isn't only crossing over various casts, but also their universes, making for the MCU's most expansive Avengers crossover to date and worthy of the multiverse saga, which stumbled and collapsed here and there, so it's not much to begin. Anyway, industry scooper Daniel Rickman revealed that Avengers Doomsday, which is currently in production, is filming scenes that take place within the Fantastic Four First Steps universe, with one described as involving a baseball game. Well, that's nice. Therefore, this means Avengers 5 is now expected to include 3, count them, 1, 2, 3, universes: the MCU's Earth 616, the X-Men universe, from Fox and all that, and now the soon-to-be-revealed Earth from the Fantastic Four First Steps. So, you're familiar with the MCU and the Fox X-Men movies. So those are the two universes you'll be familiar with. And then a brand spanking new one. Big deal. Coming to theaters on July 25th. The Fantastic Four First Steps is set in an alternate 1960s with a retro futuristic aesthetic, where Marvel's first family are celebrities and Earth's main defenders. If this new report is accurate, the fact that this Earth still exists during Doomsday offers audiences the best hint yet about First Steps, how First Steps might end. Yeah, there were all these rumors that it gets destroyed and everything. Well, there were other rumors that no, they're able to fake out Galactus and teleport their world away so it doesn't get destroyed. But Dr. Doom shows up in an in-credit scene and kidnaps their baby. And so they end up traveling to the MCU looking for their baby. And of course, Dr. Doom is the villain behind everything. Hence the name Doomsday. So that's probably the deal. So within the movie, they probably go back and forth and all that. Still, while fans don't yet know the extent of screen time each universe in Doomsday, yeah, neither does MCU. No script. They're making it up as they go along. Or if there are more to be revealed. The inclusion of this trio of alternate Earths tracks since their respective casts are already confirmed for the crossover. Avengers Doomsday is currently slated to release all over the floor on December 18th, 2026. So there you go. With audiences now expecting 3 different Marvel universes in Avengers Doomsday, the following is a breakdown of these 3 distinct Earths and what fans know so far. Earth 616, mainline MCU. See, look, it's Captain America. Huh? Yeah. The Marvel Cinematic Universe's main timeline, Earth 616, is where Captain America went into the ice during World War II. Nick Fury brought together a group of remarkable people, and the Avengers assembled and snapped Thanos into dust in Avengers Endgame, and then pretty much proceeded to burn down everything they'd built cinematically. Anyway, Avengers Doomsday that will feature the Avengers, New Avengers, and the Wakandans. Earth 616 is expected, blah, blah, blah. Earth, X-Men Earth, so yeah, this is a scene from the Marvels. Nobody saw it. So, but it's Kelsey Grammer as the Beast from the Fox movies. Yeah. So there you go. The Fox era X-Men will show up. We know Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen will be back for their cameos. And then that's it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. WandaVision's Monica Rambeau. She's stuck in the X-Men universe. So she'll probably be hanging out, And then you meet the Fantastic Four. led by this pregnant lady, while her husband watches her with Namor and stuff. Anyway, since the Fantastic Four takes place in the alternate 1960s era universe, and Galactus is the film's main villain, many expected the Devourer of Worlds to succeed, resulting in the Fantastic Four evacuating to Earth 616. No, it doesn't seem that's the case. So, there you go. The Void. Okay, this is something the Loki TV series introduced. But you probably didn't see that. You don't have to, because you probably saw Deadpool with Wolverine. Oh, yeah. So that all took place in this place called The Void. So there you go. That's this other, place. So there you go. 3 Earths and a void. And then they go into Secret Wars. And probably what'll happen, more than likely, what'll happen. In fact, I think it's all but confirmed. Secret Wars will end with a reboot of Marvel superhero movies, provided the franchise can survive any more of these disasters. And what they'll do is recast Iron Man, Captain America, and so on and so forth to move forward. Whereas the Fantastic Four will probably be the first characters of this new MCU, and they'll fold all of time and these Earths into a new Earth, where they'll be a part of it. So they probably won't be in the 60s anymore and that kind of thing. Or maybe they will. Maybe they'll go back. And because the 60s is when Marvel Comics really began. I know Captain America was introduced in the 40s, but Marvel Comics really began in the early 60s with the Fantastic Four. So there you go. Again, 3 Earths and a void. Oh boy, that's exciting, isn't it? As I said earlier, things do occur. So let me see what else. The Rotten Tomatoes score. Who cares? I'll skip that story. We'll stop the share and put that there. Come on. Oh yeah, I was talking about it just now. And I owe this to Robert Wright from Pulp Culture Breakdown. Found this little article, and it's basically Kevin Feige confirming that which is no surprise, but still, that the reboot is indeed underway. Oh yes. Okay. There we go. Marvel's Kevin Feige reveals plans to recast Tony Stark and X-Men for future MCU films. Okay. Need to know. Marvel Studio. Yeah. All right. Whatever. In a conversation with press, including Variety, the Marvel Studios president discussed what some of the franchise's most beloved characters might look like down the line. Namely, per Feige, there are plans to recast the X-Men mutants following Avengers Secret Wars in 2027, as well as Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark Iron Man, who died during the events of 2019's Avengers Endgame, and Chris Evans' Steve Rogers Captain America. But Feige, 52, he's 52, we need to know that for some reason, hesitated to use the word reboot to describe future installments in the MCU. As he explained, reboot is a scary word. But I don't care what you call it, you're still doing it. So, and can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, Variety reported. You see the things he worries about, So, look, there's Robert Downey Jr. Anyway, reset, singular timeline. We're thinking along those lines. Yeah, but it's still the same thing. I mean, the the timey-wimey crap of Secret Wars and all that and merging universes, whatever the hell happens there with godlike powers, results in a reboot. It's a brand spanking new Marvel universe, and you move on from there, just like the comic books do, especially DC. Ever since Crisis on Infinite Earths, it's exactly what they did. So everyone's young again, and you start over and all that. Anyway, regular singular timeline. We're thinking along those lines. The executive continued, adding later that the reset will happen next with the X-Men. Well, he's going to introduce his new version of the X-Men, so they'll all be recast, of course. One more little last hurrah for the original actors playing the role in Secret Wars, and then that'll be that. Stands to reason. And then they'll introduce their new guys. Well, and that's how it goes, because nobody's getting any younger if it can keep going. Feige also noted that the X-Men comics have been a place to tell stories about young people who feel different and who feel other and who feel like they don't belong. Yeah, but that's not all they're about. If that's all you're going to do is do stories about that 24/7, this thing's dead on arrival. And while Endgame literally was about endings, Feige said, Secret Wars is about, he says it twice, beginnings. I thought about wars that are secret, His comments echo those he made back in November 2024 during a Disney content showcase in Singapore, when he teased some X-Men players that you might recognize in the MCU's next few movies, a slate which also includes Avengers Doomsday in 2026. So, and then right after that, the whole story of Secret Wars really leads us to a new age of mutants and of the X-Men, he said, per Entertainment Weekly. And again, one of these dreams come true, that we finally have the X-Men back at Marvel Studios. Yeah. And in his new comments, Feige stressed that recasts and franchises aren't a new concept. No, they're not. Using the example of David Cornsweet as the newest Superman and the ongoing search for a new James Bond. Well, Bond is the main staple. I mean, how long has that been going on? And changing Bond never really derailed it, So I think it's hard for anybody to do that when an actor has done such a great role, Feige said. How are they ever going to replace Sean Connery as Bond, right? But they did. So he's got a point there. And within the overall narrative, rather than just end it with Endgame and then start over and not have to have some dumb story that puts it all together. But that's what they are doing now, or whatever the hell. I don't know. The movies have gone to crap. They wasted time on characters no one cares about, and didn't really do those characters any justice anyway. And so pretty piss poor effort overall, and they're going to slap this together, and that's where it's going to go. Secret Wars is the start. Well, he knows that, but they probably don't know how they're going to do it or what the overall narrative will be. What is Doctor Doom doing and all that? I mean, they do have decades of stories that could help them get there, and I'm sure somebody's looking at it. But for the past few years, their main rule was that if you know anything about the Marvel comic stories, you're not wanted here. So who the hell knows how they're going to get there? But they're there, and desperate to restore what they once had. But that's what happens when you burn that down with idiocy. And they did. So they drag Robert Downey Jr. back, and the rumor there is they're paying him $100 million. That's what it took. Please come back. And then I don't know what Hugh Jackman's being, because Hugh Jackman, his Wolverine Logan film, that was a good end, really, to the Fox era and all that stuff. The Deadpool Wolverine movie was fun and all that. That's fine, And so, of course, he's going to be in Doomsday and Secret Wars. And then that will be the final hoorah. Because, look, you can't keep going back to this well. You're going to have somebody who can make compelling stories and have some amount of inspiration. Geez, if only you had some, I don't know, source material to rely upon. Geez. Where can they go? Maybe they'll find it one day. So anyway, that is the situation. Billions of dollars are at stake. Will they do it? Can they do it? Well, hope springs eternal. And sometimes it does occur. If we've learned anything on today's Mr. Nailsin's Wednesday Comics, is that things do occur. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All right. There we go. Hope you had some amount of fun visiting with me today. I got to get to bed to get some sleep so that I won't be passing out during the Pop Culture Breakdown show for Doomcock's channel later today. And then hopefully I'm still able maybe to stop by Pat's live stream if possible. I'm not sure. And all that. And maybe, just maybe, sometime during the night, I can do another edition of Nailsin News. Oh, boy. There's more stories. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, there are. Meanwhile, over at Nailsin, the NailsinRatings.locals.com, if you are a subscriber, you can check out the video version of the Mr. Nailsin Show, where me and Pat talk about what else? Crime stories. Oh, boy, it's a lot of fun. And you can check that out. It's available right now. So, again, thanks for stopping by, and we'll do it again soon. Toxic JPEG, and that Batman has a nice ass. Well, it's a badass. Toxic JPEG, thanks for the stream, Doug. Well, you're very welcome, Toxic JPEG, and thanks again for the super tip. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, there we go before my voice cracks away into nothingness. And, well, I'll say my goodbyes. Yeah. But don't fret. We'll do it again soon. Because, again, doing things again does occur. Because as we've learned again, all things do occur.